Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Georgiman and I'm your friendly neighborhood anime and manga fan. I love all things anime and all things manga, and I'm here today to talk about Oshi Season 2, Episode 6. So, what did I think about this week's episode? Alright, I'm just gonna be straight up and tell you guys, I absolutely love this episode, and I would go as far as to say that this might be the best single episode of the entire story, besides Episode 1, but that's not, fair because that first episode was like an hour long. But when you look at an individual, 20-minute episode or so, I think this is by far the best episode in the entire show, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, up to this point. Not just in the season, but in the entirety of the series up to now. So, I absolutely love this episode. I love the character development they gave with Kizami. I believe that's the guy's name. Great character overall. And I really, really like this week's episode. Now, before I go any further with this week's episode, I just want to give you guys a quick reminder to make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you guys can be up to date with all my Oshinoko, as well as all my anime and manga content that I'll be providing in this channel. It really helps out a lot, and I would really, really appreciate if you guys could subscribe to my YouTube channel. So if you guys could, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Now, with all that out of the way, let's get into this week's episode. So this week's episode, we already knew that we were going to start the whole Tokyo Blade play. And right off the get-go, it kind of starts off. You see the introduction of every character, you see the lights, and right off, we start off right with a bang. We see Kana's character. Her name is Tsurugi, I believe. I'm sorry, I'm butchering the people's names. But yeah, she's playing the character, and she's fighting against the main MC, which is her partner, like the Leonardo DiCaprio, super prestige actor that she's been practicing with in the play so far. And we see that they have great chemistry. And just for the record, this week's episode, the animation, Oshinoko has always been great looking, but this week's episode really, the action scenes were amazing, and everything, even the character zoom-ins and all that, I just think they did a fantastic job, the animators. But yeah, it was just a great sequence, and we see that pretty much they fight, and then eventually she joins his side, and as they set on their journey, we see that they bump into eventually Kizami and his crew. And we see that eventually they fight him as well, and he joins them as well. And as this is happening, we see throughout the episode, the main focus of this episode is Kizami himself, which is the character that we have been introduced in Season 1 with the Today's Sweet, or Sweet Today, whatever it was called, the adaptation where Kana was acting alongside Aqua and himself and Kizami. And we've seen glimpses of him, but this week's episode really showcased his character as a whole, and I'm a big fan of his character. I think he's a great, phenomenally written character. And I think this week's episode was very emotional because we see pretty much how the things behind his, the low self-esteem he has towards his acting, because we always known that he was not the best actor, even in Season 1. And once we got introduced to the guy with the green hair, which I can't remember, but the guy that was being a hater on him last episode, we've known that it's like a chip on his shoulder. He has to prove himself because as his acting partner, he wants to make sure that he can live up to his standards. And as they pursue with the acting in the play, as they continue on, we see them it's their big scene and they're fighting each other. And throughout it all, he can thinking to himself, I'm not good enough, I suck. And you see even the guy, the hater, he's like, yeah, this guy, I gotta go down to your level. I'm being dragged down by you. You're a hurdle in this entire situation. And as this is happening, we see that pretty much we cut to a flashback of the director and the guy the La 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 production guy, the guy that, he's in cahoots with Aqua and he works along Aqua. We see that he's saying, why did you get this guy? I understand Akane and Kana, but why did you specifically get this guy? It's hey, man, sometimes you want to, make your kids, not literally his kid, but he wants to see, young actors get their, break, and he wants them see them, hatch their wings and become better. And this was a great, opportunity for him. And as he's recalling all of this, we see that pretty much, we see that he's recalling, his previous life events, and how we get an insight of pretty much Kizami's entire life. And man, to say it's a trip would be an understatement. My man, he has a very complicated life, in the sense that a lot of stuff happened with him very quick, and he got famous very fast. And I can understand, I can see it. Now, apparently when he was a freshman, he he got with a senior or a girl in third, because they're, I believe in Japan, high schoolers, they get only 3 years, so yeah, a senior. So I believe when he was a freshman, he got some from a senior, or as he says, I got bitten by a senior at that age, you know what I'm talking about. and pretty much he had relations with her, and he just kind of like felt like he was the hot stuff, man. And I get it, you know, you get in with this older classmate, you know, you think you're hot stuff because everyone thinks you're funny, everyone thinks you're cool around school. You can, you know, he started becoming a bully and just kind of became like, you know, too full of himself. And it was thanks to the Sweet Today incident where, you know, he met Aqua and Kana that really like gave him a reality check, like, hey, you're not all that, bro, like you suck at acting. And even he starts reflecting on that, because he, you know, there's a scene where he starts crying in the mirror, and he starts questioning, like, if I would have, instead of wasting all this time just kind of doing mediocre at acting, if I actually pursued it and kept training and training and training, I wonder how good I would have been. And that was a very like heart-wrenching scene, man, because it's him realizing, like, man, I just been taking everything for granted, and, you know, I got to step up. And we see that, you know, after the Sweet Today situation, you know, he's been, you know, very in touch with Kana. You know, she's been like his coach, and she's been helping him out. And hey, no better coach than her. I mean, she's a phenomenal actress. And, you know, he starts putting his reps in. You know, he starts really showcasing, like, hey, I'm here to stay, and I really want to put in everything that I have into this because it's my passion. And as this is happening, you see that pretty much he's continuing the duel with the guy, the green guy in the stage, and he starts having like a flashback with Aqua, and he remembers how Aqua specifically said, like, hey, like, don't stress about, like, you only have a month of rehearsing. Now you can just try to become a better actor by, you know, focusing in all these different elements, or you can max out in one specific element. And the one specific element that he decides to choose is, you know, giving a flashy performance. And what I mean by that is that he literally, like, my man just puts all his acting skills into like gymnastics. Like, he really he gave it a physicality, like his acting, because he started doing the stunt works, and you see him doing flips and all that, and obviously the audience is losing it. They're like, whoa, this is crazy. And, you know, even the guy that he's acting against, he's like, what is this? Like, where did this come from? And we see that Aqua just pretty much tells him, like, hey, just make sure you get your strengths, and make sure that, you know, if you give them a flash performance like that, that will definitely like make them like get hype, and they'll remember you for that. So, you know, he's doing that, and eventually you see that he's like, I'm not gonna vouch down for anything. And you see as Kizami's you know, ambition keeps increasing, and how much you know, his hard efforts have played out in the entirety of this play, how his performance has improved, you know, keeps improving and improving, and everybody in the audience is really like having a blast. Even the creator of Tokyo Blade herself is like very excited, and she's like, oh my god, he's so awesome. And to close off the episode, we see that pretty much as the fight continues, he's like, I'm not gonna give up, I'm not gonna give up. And he starts like remembering how that character, that, you know, the Tokyo Blade character resembles him, because that character never gives up, even though he loses constantly, and he calls a failure and all that. He starts remembering, like, that's me. And that's how he himself starts crying, and he's like, man, we're so alike. And then we see that, you know, as the episode, like I said, starts closing up, we see that, you know, he gives it his best. And it was a very cool scene where you see like his inner psyche, where you see like everything that has brought him up to this point, and just how he's now chasing the stardom. And now he has this great like animation, trippy looking, like acid trip kind of animation going on, which I love. I thought it was very cool. And pretty much how the episode ends, you know, he gives his best performance, and obviously his character gets defeated because that's written in the script, obviously. But after the fact, you know, you see even the Sweet Today, or Today Sweet, I always mix up the names, but you know who I'm talking about, the one from one of the mangaka authors. She starts crying, you know, because she's like, wow, this performance was beautiful. And she's also the same person that has been hating on him, so it was a great closure on her character as well, and, you know, finally resolving her issue with him. And the episode ends where pretty much the green hair guy embraces Kizami, and I thought it was a great way for him to finally acknowledge him as, you know, as an actor, a fellow actor. And he really showcased how much passion he had in this project, and how much he gave it his all. And I thought that was a fantastic moment in the series. And like I said, I think this is my favorite episode of the series thus far. I just loved it. I thought this, like I said in my thumbnail, this is cinema or absolute cinema, because it is. But with all that being said, what did you guys think about this week's episode? Did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? Did you guys thought it was alright? Whatever you guys thought, let me know in the comment section down below. Also, thank you so much for sticking all the way to the end of the video. I really appreciate it. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more Oshi, as well as more anime and manga content in the near future. But yeah, with all that being said, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.